Hey friends, welcome back to World Drum Club. I'm Kalani, your host and teacher, and I just got back from the Percussive Arts Society International Conference in Indianapolis. This is the 2019 conference. Lots of friends, lots of information, great sessions, products. I have a separate products video. I'm going to give you guys a whole tour of the conference floor. So it's kind of like the cool new drums video, but it's just percussion and drums. That's going to be in the percussion gear at PASIC video. This video is about hanging out with a friend of mine, a colleague, Taylor from Holy Goat Drumming, Holy Goat Percussion. I sat down with him and he was kind enough to give me some time for us actually, because this is specifically for World Drum Club. He's an excellent djembe teacher, djembe player, student of the instrument and the culture, an advocate for playing djembe, learning about, where it's from, what the sounds are, what the music is, and representing all of that to the best of his ability. And so if you're interested in any, what we call ethnic music, it's ethnic if it's not from your country, right? If you are from that country, it's just called music. So I sat down with Taylor. He was super generous with his time. I think that we talked for 45 or 50 minutes. So this will be video number 1. I'm probably going to break this down into 3 different videos because that's even so, it's 15 minutes long. But I want to say thank you so much, Taylor, for your generosity. I hope you all enjoy this as fans of the channel and fans of drumming. I will leave information so you can get in touch with Taylor, say thanks, or check out what he has to offer. He's a teacher and he has some products and other things and instruments on his website. So all that information will be linked below, and you'll hear about what he's doing in the actual video. But this is number 1 of, I'm going to say 3. So I'll be back at the end of this video to give you a tip on where you can find the other one. All right, so enjoy. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to World Drum Club. I'm really happy to be here with my friend Taylor at the conference, the PASIC conference, and we're going to continue with, yes,
PASIC 2019, that's right.
PASIC 2019.
That's right.
He's been kind enough to devote a little bit of time, aside from the conference, to talk to you guys and give us all some information and some tips. He's a director of Tam Tam Mending Djembe Academy, Chicago. It's based in Chicago, so if you're in the Midwest, you want to study with somebody in person, come down to Chicago, or wherever you're going to be. So I'm going to let him take it over. I wanted to get us started by asking you the question. We were talking about how to start on djembe, where to get information, how to get started, in the right direction with good information. I think a lot of people want to know that, so what do you recommend?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I started, there was really no good information in the mid-90s. There was just scraps of things, and we had to kind of figure things out as we went. And I know that when I learned, by the time I went to Guinea for the first time in 1997, I had learned things that I needed to unlearn. Because, I don't see people actively wanting to misrepresent,
right?
But everyone was doing the best they could at that time.
Yeah, of course.
And there wasn't a lot of people, Mamadi and Famadou, who weren't traveling Bolo Kata. Folks like that weren't traveling around.
It was hard to get information.
It was hard to get information. Really, hardly anybody was going to Guinea or Mali or any of the places where you would go to really learn djembe at its root. So, how would you, if you're here and now, how would you begin? Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And I would begin by reaching out to people that seem to know how to play the instrument. I mean, honestly, that sounds silly, but I was going to say, people go to YouTube, and that's kind of a hit or miss thing.
Right.
That could be great, or it could be the opposite of great. But, it's hard to really,
How do they tell? Give me some criteria on how to search for the people who you said, know what they're doing. How do we find that?
Okay.
Yeah.
This African instrument and African culture in general, especially in West Africa, is very ancestor based. It's very elder based. All right. So if you're looking to see who's doing what, and they're studying a traditional African instrument, look at who their teacher is. They should put out front who their teacher is.
Okay.
And if they don't put out front who their teacher is, that that to me is a sign to worry. Because anybody can grab a djembe and start making stuff up. And it doesn't even need to be, I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's like if you want to really study the instrument, to study djembe per se, look at the person's teacher. Now, it's important to say that the djembe is a musical instrument and can be played with any variety of music.
Yeah.
I play with classical music, with jazz, with guitars, with poetry. I do storytelling with djembe.
Right.
A lot of non-traditional things that have nothing to do with African culture.
Yeah.
So, what's your motivations? Is it maybe that's a good question to ask?
Sure, because there are people that want to play the drum because they're attracted to the drum, but they don't necessarily want to learn the classical music.
Sure.
Right? Just like you could pick up a violin and want to play bluegrass, you don't have to play classical
Exactly right.
music.
Yeah.
However, we want to do a good job. Mm-hmm. We want to know, we want to play the drum well, first of all, so there's technique side, but we're talking right now about the lineage, about the djembe, the traditional music.
Yeah. Right.
So know who your teachers are, know where you're coming from.
Yes.
I've been making some of my students go online and say, find, djembe and dundun music in a traditional setting, like in a village setting with one of the main groups, or that's one way you can do it. So people know, what it's supposed to sound like and what the context is.
Yeah.
What do you do with your students to make sure they're getting good information?
Okay. What do I do with my students to make sure they're getting good information?
Aside from studying directly with you, but...
Right. Okay. That would be the first thing.
Yeah.
But, say for instance, I teach a lot in schools, public schools, private schools, like with youth, like the age is 10, 9, 8, all the way up to college, whatever. If I'm in that kind of academic setting, I have 3 videos I show like automatically near the beginning so that they can begin with the end in mind.
Right.
That they can see what it looks like what they're going toward. Because I think it's important, like with you saying with your students, find a video of these different groups. I think it's important so that they see where are we going with this, so we can, I can have that in my mind as I progress. Because if you don't, the progression goes like this, So now, what do I do? Okay, so there's a video called Foley.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Best 10-minute djembe video I've ever seen.
Foley.
Okay?
I'll link it below.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And now the other thing I do is I show them Mamadi Keita's Djembe Khan.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Which is he does what he calls djembe khans, which means the sound or word of the djembe in Malinke. Khan means sound or word, and it's him pretty much doing a massive 10-minute solo, so you can see who he is and what a master is. Now, I'm not saying that you couldn't do the same thing with a handful of other masters.
Right.
I happen to choose Mamadi because he's got videos like that. Okay.
Right.
And the third thing I show them is me playing in a gig with Mamadi.
Okay.
Because that really helps them to understand where I'm at. A lot of people can say a lot of things.
Yeah.
God, words, man.
Yeah.
And
people can create websites and they can create a business name and have business cards and have great looking stuff, but I'm glad you said that, because one of the things that I recommend everybody do, if you're looking to study with somebody or looking for a resource, make sure you can see those people playing.
Yeah.
There should be video. If anybody's walking around with a drum, there should be evidence of their musicianship, right? Their accomplishments. I mean, don't make sure that they play. There's a lot of people with drums that do drumming programs, and I've never seen any of them actually play it, so that's great too.
Thing. Yeah, you're right.
And I want to add to what Taylor said about Mamadi's stuff. Mamadi is one of the first teachers that I had too on djembe. I mean, just in classes, not ongoing. But I got most of his CDs too. So you got to listen to those.
Yeah.
Can we give him some titles of the CDs?
Yeah. There's Wasolon.
Yep. Excellent.
Nankama.
Right.
There's Mogobalu, which is the meeting of 3 grand masters. That's Mamadi Keita, Fadu Baolare, and Famudu Konate on the same record, recorded live I was going to say live in studio, but the studio was outside in Mamadi's compound. And for that matter, one of the films I also show is Djembe Fola.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
A wonderful documentary about Mamadi coming back to his village of birth after being gone for 26 years and becoming the most famous, one of the most famous Africans in the history of the continent.
Yep.
And then Mogo Balu, the film. After that,
Yeah.
because that shows what happened during Mogo Balu, the record, and
nice.
more,
Nice.
and more. So it's really wonderful.
Yeah. I have all those things that he just talked about. Not the film. I got to. Where's the film? Is it online or is it?
It is a little hard to find now. There's a DVD that has both Djembe Fola and Mogo Balu on it.
Okay.
All right. It's a little hard to find, but
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys, if you're interested in this music and you want to do it, find it.
Yeah, and
Find it.
And honestly, me personally, I've devoted my life to djembe, and I'm very open to sharing what I can reasonably with people who want to progress.
Yes, absolutely. And also, while we're here, how do people find your resources online?
My website is holygoat.com.
Holygoat.com. All right.
Yes, and then separately, but related obviously, is my YouTube page is Djembist.
Djembist.
I figured there's guitarists, there's violinists. Why not a djembist?
Okay. Now, before you click away from this video and go over there after you finish watching this. We are going to do some technique.
Yeah.
And some practical stuff for you beginners. Or even advanced students. I mean, I like to get refreshed. I like to get different perspectives too. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit more. Don't go away. Hang in there.
Yeah.
We talked about the cultural context, and I think the importance of just understanding. Even though you can make music, any kind of music with really any instrument. But what do you kind of not want to end up doing, or what's that guy you don't want to be with the djembe or gal?
Excellent question. Let's say I pick up a guitar, and I like playing with gloves on, and I play my guitar with gloves on.
Okay.
And that's how I define how I play guitar. Now I think that would not work in most contexts.
Traditionally, no.
Most people would not accept that as playing guitar. Okay, it probably wouldn't even make sounds in a good way.
Right, you're not connecting with the traditions.
No, and you're not even, the sound of the instrument is not happening in a way where you're allowing it to happen because of how you're touching it.
Right.
And I can say that same exact phrase for djembe. The sound of the instrument needs to come from how you are touching the instrument. And if you're touching it in a sloppy way, you're going to get sloppy sound.
Right. It's like trying to speak and not having good pronunciation or something.
Or having a mouthful of mashed potatoes.
Right.
Don't want that. No,
there
except if you're eating mashed potatoes at dinner. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. and we're assuming, you don't have a disability or something that's going to send you in another direction, and it's okay if you are not able to do something. That's a different situation.
True.
So, but if you're capable, if you're typical person, So what is, summarize that for me in terms of djembe?
Okay, so I'll say with djembe, to me, djembe is an energetic interaction. You give to djembe, and djembe gives back to you. Now, what's an example of me giving to djembe and not allowing djembe to give back to me? Would be this. It went one direction. Yeah. That way.
Right.
Now that went here and then here. I give, I receive. If I don't allow to receive, that's not a relationship here. That's not an interaction.
Right.
And with djembe, it should be an interaction. It should be a relationship. Djembe is unique. It's almost more of an. It almost transcends being a musical instrument. I mean, people talk about djembe. Sometimes I'll say my drum wife. My wife. She knows that djembe is up here, she's down, she's here, and if she sees this video, I'll stand behind that, So, but it's a thing where you can develop a relationship with the instrument because there's something about djembe that really connects to human beings. I don't think it's an accident that this instrument, among all other hand percussion in the world, came up so strong across the world. Beginning in the 80s, pretty much started burbling in Europe and stuff, and started coming up. And then in the 90s, holy crap!
It just
popped.
It just exploded.
It was everywhere. Drum circles everywhere. That was the main thing, and I started in drum circles. I started because someone asked me to play djembe in a theatrical production. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what a djembe was. I wasn't a percussionist. Somebody asked me to do this thing. I said, is it okay that I don't do this thing and never have done this thing? They said, okay. I said, okay, good, let's go. So I got a drum, and I just started playing it, and it's almost like the drum started teaching me. I honestly think that if you really tune in to what needs to happen with djembe, that you will be guided to what that energetic relationship, and you will be guided away from stuff like that, where you're just pawing up on the instrument. You're not playing a musical instrument there. Again, energetic interaction. I give, I receive. I give, I receive. I give, no. I didn't receive back. That's not it. Djembe is about that.
So let's go deeper into that, and let's look at the techniques. Okay. And in case you guys don't know, there's three basic sounds, right? And they're the notes. I was gonna say the vocal. The syllables of the language.
Right. How you speak on the syllables. Right. They're the words, the syllables, the
words
notes.
Or syllables. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the way you speak on djembe.
And if you can play those, there's levels. You can start, and then it gets more defined over time. But you don't have to do. That's basically it, right? For djembe. So let's show people. I'd like to know, your quick, down and dirty introduction to djembe tones.
Okay. Yeah. I'd say bass tone. You bounce your hand with no resistance at all. Sometimes, if my students have trouble getting this, I'll say, imagine your hand is here. Now imagine your arm disappears. What is your hand going to do? Okay, it's simple like that. Now, tone and slap, the other two notes. The way I explain that is I always ask people, I don't want people to get hurt. Having bad technique can be straight up dangerous for your health, So I ask them to identify this knuckle. Then I say, identify the bottom of that knuckle. Notice it's here. Then I ask them to find where that knuckle would hit right on top of this wood, and say to them, don't play there. If you find that you're playing there, don't play there. But back up about a centimeter. You're close to that point, but you're not that point. Now, how am I sure if I'm at that point? I can look under my fingers and see that crease. If I don't see that crease, that means I'm in that crease. That's not far enough. If I, up here, like conga players do, that's too far, I'm in my palm. So I want to make sure this bone is it's on, and this bone is round, and this bearing edge should be round. If your bearing edge is not rounded, that's a thing that's, know that you don't need to go through some crazy pain to play djembe with a sharp bearing edge. So that roundness, nestled against this roundness, is where tone and slap live. That's what I teach. And now, tone and slap, what's the difference? The difference here, 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 here. If I go tone, tone, slap, slap. If I go slap, slap, tone, tone. If I go bass, bass, tone, tone, slap, slap. It's like that. Simple. Kind of. Now, if the tone and slap doesn't come, I encourage you to believe me when I say to you, repeat this thing and it will come. Don't do things to change it, to make it, I know,
I see
people be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I can't find the tone and slap. Let me,
and then they do crazy stuff like come out to here, right? So try to they do that, which,
it's not djembe. It's not djembe.
It's not the djembe technique, and people end up getting bruised. And
look, djembe is powerful. She will not mean to hurt you, but you touch her incorrectly, she'll hurt you. I'm just saying.
There you go.
And so now, tone and slap, there's less difference between tone and slap than more difference in terms of what you're doing physically. But look, the reason I can go with a lot of sound difference and not make so much physical difference is because I've done it thousands and thousands of times.
So that concludes part 1 of 3. If you want to go right to 2 or 3 from here, you can click the videos that are showing up in your screen. As always, I appreciate you being here at World Drum Club. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Join us at patreon.com to support world drumming, education, and enjoyment all around the world. I'm Kalani. Thanks for watching.